Alright. So earlier I had to cut this short because work shenanigans. I literally had to go take care of something at work. So we did about 15 minutes worth of work. It happens. Once I'm in uniform, I'm on duty. Like I have to stop everything that I'm doing and go take care of what I need to take care of. So lunch got cut short. It is what it is. So I'm doing this right now. We'll finish this up. We'll do as much as we can. Later on, I'll be doing a sprite animation. Then I'll be working on the Uneco one on the side. So let's get to it. Less yapping, more working. So we were about to talk about the Weeping Angels. But first, let's go over what we put here before we even do anything. Okay, so cultural differences in survival horror. Not every fear is born in the same place. Western horror emphasizes control, privacy, and state surveillance. For example, cameras, mass stalkers, AI systems, and digital tracking. Eastern horror explores shame, memory, and psychological reckoning. Ghosts, grudges, cursed family lines, and divine watchers and spirits. Each culture interprets the watcher differently. In the West, being watched means being invaded. In the East, being watched means being seen through. Horror games reflect these splits, turning fear into a cultural mirror. So it's funny, I quite literally just described Fatal Frame right here. That's Fatal Frame in a nutshell. So, so we're gonna be talking about the Weeping Angels in Doctor Who. Alright. So it's about to be 6 o'clock. We'll do about 30 to 40 minutes worth of work. Then I definitely gotta start doing sprite shit. Okay. Weeping Angel. So, Weeping Angels. The stare, it becomes. You always have to stare at them. If you don't stare at them, they move closer and can kill you. Just like fucking that SCP. So, in a sense, looking is survival. It's a paradox. Okay, we can do that. The Weeping Angel, the Weeping Angel paradox. When looking becomes survival. Weeping Angel paradox. What do we need to add that portion? That's what it is. Looking is survival. Okay. I gotta go a little bit in detail about this because I know there's some people out there who haven't seen Doctor Who. Good series, very good series. What the fuck is going on here? Stout Gym for PC. Okay. Again, even when I'm off duty, I'm on duty, so I always gotta respond. Okay, so I recommend watching Doctor Who. It's great. It's awesome. With the Weeping Angels, definitely scared the living daylights out of me because I'm terrible when it comes to like stuff like that. Okay, so no horror. Oh, no horror entity captures the. Well, we're talking about paradoxes, so we can do the paradox of the gaze. No entity captures the paradox of the gaze than the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who. Again, it's fucking scary. Just okay. How should we describe this? That honestly was the scariest episode I've ever seen. Because again, I'm terrible when it comes to like mannequins. I'm like, y'all are like mannequins. Y'all are doing that. Y'all doing that trope. That shit's scary. You look away, we move. Look away, we move. We blink, we move. They move. Oh shit! Damn, I'm surrounded now. And that's something you can't really. You can't do anything about blinking. Like you can try keeping your eyes open, but oh man, eventually you're gonna blink. They don't move when you look at them, but the second you blink, they strike. But no horror entity captures the paradox of the gaze than the weeping angels from Doctor Who. They don't move when you look at them, but the second you blink, they strike. You must watch them at all times to survive, but you can't watch them forever because eventually you have to blink. It's true, you have to blink. Fucking scary. Oh boy. This is kind of a contradiction if you think about it. Because for you to live, you have to look. But to stop looking, you die. Damn, that is a contradiction. We can write that actually. Okay, word. What do you want to? What do you want to do? No, I'm not gonna change it till you always watch them. No, you have. Word, I love you, but sometimes you're bugging because eventually you must blink. No, that's fine. I'm pretty sure putting have to is concise, but thank you, word. All right. This creates a contradiction. This creates a contradiction. I can actually fucking spell. I think that's the ongoing meme. I can't spell when it actually matters. Okay. This creates a contradiction. To look is to live. To stop is to die. So how does this apply to horror games? Okay. While I do that, song switch. Now we haven't heard you in a while. Let's go. Loud. No, I want to keep the Resident Evil atmosphere going. Okay. Feel like I have to go into extreme detail in this section. I'm probably gonna have to definitely go into extreme detail. Horror games are inspired by this mechanic. They turn gaze into a double-edged sword. You're punished not for looking, but for looking away. Okay, that's... You're punished for not looking, but for looking away. Like, the enemy doesn't have to do anything. It just needs to wait. Yeah. Pyramid Head again. OG Pyramid Head, at least. That scene... Oh. That scene is amazing. That every time I play Silent Hill 2, it just hits different. So, by the enemy not doing anything, the horror doesn't lie in the action. It's pretty much you know something's gonna happen. It's the anticipation of it. It's the anticipation, but nothing ever happens. How can I word that? Actually, hmm. I gotta keep track of time because again, this is I was supposed to stream for like at least 45 minutes earlier, but work calls, so I do want to make some time for me to actually do some stuff off stream in regards to the Human Echo video. So let's do like another 15 minutes. Let's finish this section up, then we should be good to go. But again, I have to do a lot. I have to go into a lot of detail in this section. So it's ho. Its horror lies not in the action, but in the anticipation. But in the anticipation, if I can actually spell. In the anticipation. We can. There's more to that. Its horror lies not in the action, but in the anticipation. In anticipation, and it's an anticipation of movement that never comes. Okay. So let's see what we got so far. Again, we have to do a lot of. There's a lot of stuff we can add to this. This is probably gonna be the biggest section of the video. So no horror entity captures the paradox of the gaze than the weeping angels from Doctor Who. They don't move when you look at them, but the second you blink, they strike. You must watch them at all times to survive, but you can't watch them forever because eventually you have to blink. This creates a contradiction. To look is to live. To stop is to die. Horror games are inspired by this mechanic. They turn gaze into a double-edged sword. You're punished not for looking. You're punished not for looking, but for looking away. The enemy does nothing. It only waits. Again, using OG Pyramid Using OG Pyramid Head from Silent Hill 2 as an example. Its horror lies not in the action, but in the anticipation. An anticipation of movement that never comes. We can talk about how they use this mechanic, I guess, and how it ties into the pyramid, ties into the Weeping Angels, I guess. Okay, so this mechanic. This mechanic appears. Wait a minute. Well, it's not a horror game, but I remember in The Witcher. God, yeah, but it's not a horror game. But it's whenever those statues in the forest in that place. God, I can't. It's been a long time since the last Witcher, but once those statues weren't in view, they would move closer and closer to Gerald. Okay, yeah, okay, that works. God, I haven't played The Witcher in so long. Enemy AI that only moves when, but not in direct sight. Give an example. So statues, especially mannequins. Screw those assholes. Mannequins. Statues, mannequins, dolls. Okay. This mechanic appears in enemy AI, so enemy AI is good. It's the obvious one, but let's think outside the box. I talk aloud. Don't I think aloud? Don't mind me. If I'm yapping, just staring off into the distance, I'm just thinking. So enemy AI is the obvious one, but let's think. What more does this mechanic appear in? Yes. This one's an oddly specific one because it only really applies to like certain horror games that have very specific cameras, like fixed camera angles. So and I'm thinking specifically of Resident Evil Zero. It's when hunters are rare. Well, there's not a lot of hunters in Resident Evil Zero. There's like probably like I'd argue to say probably 6 hunters. I've not Resident Evil Zero in a while. The last time I Resident Evil Zero was for the video that I released a couple days ago, and that was just for clips. I don't really go out of my way to play Resident Evil Zero. I will if someone requests me to play Resident Evil Zero, but it's not my first game I'd play. Like I wouldn't wake up one day like I really want to play Resident Evil Zero. It's not that. No. So it's in Marcus's secret laboratory proper. When it's prior to it's where you get the leech specimen, the that you need for that door. But the leech specimen you need for the puzzle that has Marcus's head bust on it. The hunters that appear in there, they're obscured by flickering lights. So Puzzle rooms were blinking. Were blinking. Puzzle rooms where blinking is implied or automated. There we go. Puzzle rooms where blinking implied or automated. Automated. So, giving an example of this, so lights flickering. Definitely lights flickering, based on the example I just gave. Lights flickering, lights flicker. The screen could be obscured. Resident Evil Deadly Silence with the library for sure. When the chimera obscures the screen. That was a very good use of cameras right there. Screen obscures, and what else? Obscures. Oh my god. Screens obscure. Okay. Is there another example I can use? Horror games are inspired by this mechanic. They turn gaze into a double-edged sword. You're punished not for looking, but for looking away. The enemy does nothing, it only waits. Its horror lies not in action, but in the anticipation. An anticipation of movement that never comes. This mechanic appears in enemy AI that only moves when not in direct sight, statues, mannequin, or dolls. Puzzle rooms where blinking is implied or automated. Lights flicker, screen obscures, you can't trust your vision. Ooh. I have the dark horse right here. Multiplayer horror where players must coordinate to keep watching from different angles. But to YouTube lore guy, what do you mean by that? Multiplayer horror? What do you mean? Can you give us an example of it? Well, thank you for asking. Well, the liquor sequence in RE5. There you go. God, I hate that sequence. You can not trust Sheva AI. But yeah, the liquor sequence inside of the lab and going into Wesker. Yeah. You definitely gotta watch every single angle because those liquors are assholes. RE5 liquors are scary. I love RE5 as a cooperative experience. Damn, from a single player point of view, holy crap. Sheva, I miss you. Use this! I'm at full health though, but alright, thank you. It was just was a scratch. But I will gladly I'll take the usage of a first aid spray to heal me. Sheva, we miss you. We should have appreciated you while we had you. Multiplayer horror where players must coordinate to keep watching for different angles, specifically the RE5 liquors in that sequence. When I grow giddy whenever I hear the 2 versus 2 thing or two. It's been a bit. 2-on-2, 2-on-2, 2-on-2. I'm like, oh shit, we're playing Marvel now. Let's go. 2-on-2. Okay, so I think that's good. So let's just see what we have here. This mechanic appears in enemy AI that only moves when not in direct sight, statues, mannequin, and dolls. That's the obvious one. Puzzle rooms where blinking is implied or automated. Lights flicker, screen obscures, you can't trust your vision. Okay, cool. Multiplayer horror where players must coordinate to keep watching from different angles, i.e., RE5 liquor sequences, specifically when they are introduced in pre-2-on-2. Isn't that right, Jill? Okay, so now how does this apply to how does the Weeping Angels play into this? Hmm. Okay, we got about 10 minutes left. Let's try to finish this up strong. How do the Weeping Angels play into this? Well, first of all, the ocular vision is like scuffed. Like you can't look forever. Uh, us human frailty, specifically human frailty. So the ocular vision, human frailty, and dread by design. There we go. Those three: ocular, human frailty, dread by design. So ocular, ocular fatigue is good. Of course. Ocular fatigue. You can't look forever. You can't look forever. Human frailty. Eventually, well, in regards to human frailty, eventually you're gonna make a mistake. Yeah, make a mistake. And tread by design. So dread by design. It's not. It's not the fear. Dread by design. Dread by design. Dread by design. Dread by design. It's not the fear of what it could potentially do. It's the fear. It's the fear of what it might do when you stop looking. Yeah, the fear is not what it can do. It's the fear that what it can do when you're not looking. Okay. The fear isn't in what it does, but stop watching. Okay. The Weeping Angels play into this archetype by ocular fatigue. You can't look forever. You can't look forever. Okay. Human frailty. Eventually, you'll make a mistake because we're not perfect. We're only human. Dread by design. The fear isn't what it does, but what it might do when you stop watching. Okay. Okay. So let's just read over everything one more time, and I think we should be good to go. So today we did section 8, which is fine. Cultural differences. We needed to do that. So let's read this. Let's read this. No horror entity captures the paradox of the gaze than the weeping angels from Doctor Who. They don't move when you look at them, but the second you blink, they strike. You must watch them at all times to survive. God, that's I gotta really be careful, doing that one. You must watch them at all times to survive. You must watch them at all times to survive. I need a difficult comment there. You must watch them at all times to survive, but you can't watch them forever, because eventually you have to blink. This creates a contradiction. To look is to live. To stop is to die. Horror games are inspired by this mechanic. They turn gaze into a double-edged sword. You're punished not for looking, but for looking away. The enemy does nothing. It only waits. Using Pyramid Head from OG Silent Hill 2 as an example, when he's first introduced in that hallway. Its horror lies not in the action, but in the anticipation. An anticipation of movement that never comes. This mechanic appears in enemy AI that only moves when not in direct sight, statues, mannequins, and dolls. Puzzle rooms where blinking is implied or automated, lights flickering, screen obscures, cannot trust your vision. Multiplayer horror where players must coordinate to keep watching from different angles, i.e. Resident Evil 5 liquor sequences, specifically when they're introduced in pre-212. The Weeping Angels play into this archetype, but because of ocular fatigue, you can't look forever. Human frailty, because again, we're not perfect, we're only human. Eventually you'll make a mistake. And dread by design. The fear isn't what it does, but what it might do when you stop watching. So, let's just go over everything we've accomplished so far. So we talked about the gaze as an ancient fear. We gave examples of the eye. We're going to talk about the eye of providence, the eye of Horus, and the evil eye. The brain knows when you're being watched, specifically the amygdala, the peanut-shaped object in your brain. That's pretty much the fear center. We're specifically going to talk about that. Big Brother is an important one. If you haven't read 1984, please read 1984. It's one of those books you need to read in your lifetime. That and The Art of War. The psychological collapse, which is pretty self-explanatory. We try to approach things from a different angle as us being the watcher. The unseen watcher, the one that watches you but never makes themselves known. The watcher that doesn't act. Cultural differences in surveillance horror. And the Weeping Angel paradox. So what I think we can do, we've been doing this recently, but I think we can add a mythological parallels to this. Yeah, because we've done that for the past couple of videos. We did that for Vera. We've done that for Yumineko. We've done that for the video I just released on running. So, obvious mythological parallels would be Medusa. That's for sure. Medusa's like a given. Medusa, we'll be doing 3 parallels, but I'll have to do some extensive research on some other ones. So definitely Medusa, but I'll sleep on it. I'll go do my own due diligence research, and we'll go from there. I think what we'll do is we'll do it like this. Because obviously the world is a big place. There has to be different cultural parallels that we can use. So with Medusa, there's the Greek parallel. Let's see if there's a Japanese parallel, and there's a Japanese and Egyptian. So we'll try Greek. We'll do definitely Greek because Medusa, Japanese, and Egyptian. It's probably gonna be for Egyptian. It's probably gonna be either Horus or Ra. Probably gonna be. All right, I'm just guessing right now, but I'll do that, and we'll come back tomorrow when I have more free time. Like I'll try doing this during work, but again, work calls. Like I'm in uniform, so I'm on duty. My lunch break can just get KO'd at any given moment. So good stuff. I apologize for the short stream earlier, but I had to go do some work related things. So we did this. We're good. Let's wrap this up. I'm going to be doing some Human Echo audio editing on the side. Later on, I'll be doing some spray animation. So good shit. I'll see people tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day, good rest of your evening, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.